Hello students, in the last lecture we have seen our syllabus, physics syllabus and question paper pattern. Today we are going to start first chapter of your 11th physics. So first chapter is units and measurements. Units and measurements. Units and measurements. So in foundation course we have seen what is physics, what is science, what is physics, then physics, manifestation of physics, then fundamental quantities, derived quantities and all other quantities like length, mass, time. Also we have seen supplementary quantities, etc. So today we are going to see those quantities in details. Okay, so we have seen what is physics. Physics is the study of basic laws of nature. So physics is study of basic laws of nature and their manifestation. In different phenomena. So physics is the study of basic laws of nature and their manifestation in different phenomena. So what are the basic laws of nature? We know already Newton's first law, Newton's second law, law of gravitation, like this. So these laws are applicable in our day-to-day life. Suppose you are moving along some direction, then Newton's law will apply. Suppose and also we know law of conservation of energy. Suppose some body is falling from some height, then law of gravitation is applicable there, right? So what we are studying here, we are studying basic laws of nature and their manifestation in different phenomena. So different phenomena like, first is unification, second is reductionism. So in unification and reductionism. So what is unification now? I have told you the example of many forces are there, gravitational gravitational force is divided in four forces, that is strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, electromagnetic force and so this type of, suppose gravitational force, so this is divided into strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, weak force and strong force. So what or we can take different examples also. I have told you the example of cars. So different cars are there, you know, or different vehicles are there. Different vehicles like motorcycle, these all are under unified. These all are unified under variables. So this is unification and reductionism. So different phenomena are in reductionism. What can be done? Different phenomena are separated from one phenomena. Suppose from one phenomena, different phenomena are separated and studied differently. So this is reductionism. So this is reductionism. So this physics is what we are doing in physics. We are measuring different quantities in our day-to-day life. Suppose in physics I have to measure this length of this board. So I have to measure length. I have to measure mass of this chalk. So mass I have to measure. If I throw this chalk in this direction, म्हणजे तुम्ही हा chalk या दिशेने जर फेकलो तर हा किती वेळामध्ये 50 मीटर डिस्टन्स कव्हर करेल किंवा 10 मीटर डिस्टन्स कव्हर करेल. तर त्यासाठी आपल्याला काय कॅल्क्युलेट करावं लागते? टी कॅल्क्युलेट करावं लागते. सो आपण रेग्युलर किंवा आपल्या डे टू डे लाईफ मध्ये वेरियस क्वांटिटीज मेजर करतो. तर त्या क्वांटिटीज कुठल्या आहेत? तर त्यांना काय म्हणायचं? फिजिकल क्वांटिटीज. सो length, mass, time, temperature, luminous intensity, like these quantities we can measure. किंवा तुम्हाला जर काहीतरी बाय करायचं असेल, समजा you have to buy 1 kg or some amount of sugar. So the unit is necessary. So the unit is necessary to measure this quantity. Measure this quantity. So the physical quantity is nothing but the measurable quantity. So the physical quantity is nothing but the measurable quantity. So in our day to day life we are measuring various quantities. Suppose I have told you length is measured in meter, time is measured in second, time is measured in second. Then mass is measured in kilograms. Like this, right? But initially there was many systems of units. Initially means before 1971 there are different systems of unit. So different countries किंवा आपण म्हणू शकतो वेगवेगळे देश वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे युनिट्स यूज करत होते. तर ते युनिट्स कुठले कुठले आहेत ते आपण बघूया. So types of units. Types of units. Before 1971, the various types of units were there. तर कुठले कुठले आहेत बघा? CGS, MKS, FPS आणि SI सिस्टम. तर व्हॉट इज CGS युनिट? तर तुम्ही लास्ट लेक्चरला बघितलाय. व्हॉट इज CGS युनिट? So this is centimeter, gram, second. Centimeter, gram, second. CGS unit. Then MKS unit, meter, kilogram, meter, kilogram and second. So this is MKS unit. Then third one is foot, pound and second. Foot, pound and second. So this is FPS unit. And last one is System International. So last one is System International. So what is System International? In 1971, world scientists or physicists, they have organized 14th International Conference. So 14th International Conference, they have decided, this conference was organized on units and or weights and measurements. So in 14th International Conference on Weight and Measurement, the scientists have decided the SI system is the standard measurement system. So what are the parameters in SI system? So here I will take meter, kilogram and second. So these are the units used in SI system, right? After that, now we will see what is fundamental units or fundamental quantities and derived quantities. So already we have seen in our foundation course what are fundamental quantities, fundamental units and derived quantities and derived units. So first of all we will see fundamental quantities. Fundamental quantities. Fundamental quantities. So fundamental quantities are those quantities which does not depend on any other quantities. So I will write here, does not depend on any other quantities. For measurement. So these quantities does not depend on any other quantities for their measurement. So these type of quantities are called as fundamental quantities. So what are the fundamental quantities now? So there are 7 fundamental quantities. So I will write here length, mass, time, temperature, luminous intensity, then electric current, So these are the 7 fundamental quantities. So there are 2 more quantities that we will discuss later. Okay. So fundamental quantities are the quantities which does not depend on any other quantities for their measurement are called as fundamental quantities. So fundamental quantities are 7 fundamental quantities: length, mass, time, temperature, luminous intensity, electric current, and last one is amount of substance. Okay, then what are fundamental units? We will see. Fundamental units. So what are fundamental units actually? The units used to measure the units. So the units used to measure these fundamental quantities. The units used to measure the fundamental quantities. Fundamental quantities. So these are called as fundamental units. So length is measured in meter. So meter is fundamental unit. Mass is measured in kilogram. I am telling this about CGS system, SI system. So time is measured in second. Then temperature is measured in Kelvin. Then luminous intensity is measured in candela. So candela is the unit for luminous intensity. Then electric current is measured in ampere. So electric current is measured in ampere. Then amount of substance is measured in mole. So these are the fundamental units. So till now what we have seen? Physics, their manifestation. What is physics? So physics is the study of basic laws of nature and their manifestation in different ways. So in our day-to-day life we are measuring different quantities. While traveling we are measuring distance. So distance is the measure of length. So if we went to shop, then we can measure suppose we have to buy sugar, then we are measuring quantity in mass. So how much time it will require to come from your home to college, that we will measure in time. So अशा प्रकारच्या ज्या क्वांटिटीज आहेत तर आपण त्या डिवाइड केलेल्या आहेत. कुठल्या प्रकारामध्ये डिवाइड केलेल्या आहेत? एक fundamental quantities. So these quantities does not depend on any other quantities for their measurement. So length, mass, time, temperature, luminous intensity and amount of luminous intensity, electric current and amount of substance are the fundamental quantities. So units, those units which are used to measure fundamental quantities are called as fundamental units. So meter, kilogram, second, Kelvin, candela, then ampere and mole. These are the fundamental units. Now we will see what are derived quantities. What are derived quantities? So derived quantities. Derived quantities. derived quantities. So what are derived quantities now? The quantities which uses the fundamental quantities. In short, what we can say? The physical quantities which depends on fundamental quantities for their measurement. So the physical quantities so the physical quantities which depends on fundamental quantities for their measurement. Are called as derived quantities. So the physical quantities which depends on fundamental quantities for their measurement are called as what? Derived quantities. So now we will see what are derived units. So derived units. Derived units. तर derived units म्हणजे काय आपण बघूया. So the physical किंवा the units used to measure the derived quantities. Are called as derived units. The units used to measure the derived quantities are called as derived units. So what are the derived quantities now? तर derived quantities कुठल्या आहेत? कुठल्या derived quantities आहेत? So speed आपल्याला माहिती आहे. स्पीड आपण कसा मेजर करतो हे आपण फाउंडेशन कोर्स मध्ये बघितलेलं आहे. डिस्टन्स डिवाइडेड बाय टाइम इज स्पीड. सो इकडे लक्ष द्या. स्पीड इज derived quantity. So distance divided by time is speed. So distance is nothing but length. And time is measured in distance is nothing but length. So these are the quantities. So length and time are fundamental quantities which are required to measure this speed. So these type of quantities are called derived quantities. So another quantities are there: speed, velocity, acceleration, again many more quantities are there. Density is there, etc. So these are the derived quantities. So units used to measure derived quantities is called as derived units. तर स्पीड साठी आपण काय युनिट यूज करतो? डिस्टन्स इज मेजर्ड इन मीटर, टाइम इज मेजर्ड इन सेकंड, वेलोसिटी इज अगेन मीटर per second, then acceleration is meter per second square, then density is kilogram kilogram per centimeter or per meter cube. Okay, so or you can see only these three. Meter per second, speed is meter per second, velocity is also meter per second, acceleration is meter per second square. So the units used to measure the derived quantities are called as derived units. Okay, then we will see what symbols are used for these fundamental quantities and their units. So we will see the tabular form. तर आपण एक टेबल बघूया. त्या टेबल मध्ये फंडामेंटल 7 फंडामेंटल क्वांटिटीज त्या कुठल्या युनिट मध्ये मेजर करतात आणि त्याला काय सिंबल आहे ते आपण बघूया. सो आय विल राइट हियर fundamental quantities. Fundamental, or you can write physical quantity. So fundamental quantity, then what is the SI unit? And symbol. So what are the fundamental quantities? We know already, so we will write it again. So first fundamental quantity is length, second is, so length is measured in meter and symbol is M. Mass, second fundamental quantity is mass. So mass is measured in kilogram and symbol is kg. Then third fundamental quantity is time. Third fundamental quantity is time. So time SI unit is second and symbol is smallest. This is smallest. Then fourth fundamental quantity is temperature. So fourth fundamental quantity is temperature. So SI unit is Kelvin and symbol is capital K. Symbol is capital K. Fifth fundamental quantity is luminous intensity. Luminous intensity. Luminous intensity unit is candela. So this C is small. Candela and symbol is capital C, small d. Then sixth fundamental quantity is electric current. Electric current. So unit is ampere and symbol is capital A. Okay. The last fundamental quantity is amount of substance. Amount of substance. Amount of substance. Unit is mole and symbol is MOL. So these are the 7 fundamental quantities: length, SI unit is meter, symbol is small m. Mass, SI unit is kilogram, symbol is kg. Time, SI unit is second, symbol is smallest. Then fourth one is temperature, SI unit is Kelvin, symbol is capital K. Luminous intensity, unit is candela, symbol capital C, small d. Then electric current, unit is ampere, symbol is capital A. Amount of substance, unit is mole and symbol is mol. So these are the 7 fundamental quantities which we are using in our day-to-day life. So beside these 7 fundamental quantities, there are 2 more quantities. तर या 7 फंडामेंटल क्वांटिटीज सोडून आणखीन काही फिजिकल क्वांटिटीज आहेत. त्या क्वांटिटीज काय आहेत ते आपण बघूया. So the remaining or the supplementary quantities we will see in the next lecture. Okay, so be ready for next lecture. Thank you.